Yaakov went down to Mitzrayim. He got to the border. So they said to him, what would you like? He says, I would like a temporary visitor's visa, please. Right? He didn't ask for immigration. Right? He wanted a visitor's visa, temporary visitor's visa. He liked to be he didn't want to be an immigrant. He wanted to be a visitor. He was not Yorad L'shtakeya b'Mitzrayim, only to dwell there temporarily. Shenemar, v'yoymu el Par. They said to Par, when they came down to Par, they said, Logur ba'aretz banu, to dwell in the land we came. Because we have no food for our sheep, because there's a lot of famine in Canaan. Let us live in Goshen. But the ikar point that we're bringing from the pasuk is Lagur, right? And again, we're just bringing the pasuk from over there where it's a longer version. Over here, it's one word, Vayagar Sham. We just bring that part of the story. We're picking out all the key parts of the story. Why is this important? Why is it important that we were Vayagar Sham? So the Maral again says that because when we went down to Mitzrayim, we went down with the idea of being Vayagar Sham, that's why we were Zeicha to Geula. Had we gone down and said, we want to live there, that's it, we're moving to Mitzrayim, we would have never been Zeicha to Geula. The reason why we're Zeicha to Geula is because the entire time we were in Mitzrayim, we were sitting in Mitzrayim, we were saying, this is not where we belong, we're visitors, we're not citizens, we're visitors, and as soon as the day comes that we're able to go, we're out. We're ready to leave. Our bags are packed. We're ready to go to Eretz Yisrael. That's where we want to be. That's our place. And when you have that mindset, that's what caused them to be able to be zoicha to the geula. But had they gone down and said, "Oh, we're coming down to dwell in Mitzrayim," then what's it called? So you like to share something. So, but it's a message for us too, is that even where we are, we also have to have in mind that
Lagur.
That we're Lagur, and this is a temporary situation, and it's a long temporary situation, but still a temporary situation. And the idea is to remain that. I don't know if you shouldn't get a passport, but the idea is that your heart and your mind is hoping for the time when Mashiach will come, and we'll be able to. I'll be able to go back to where we really belong, and this is not where we really belong.
We can go ahead of Mashiach and wait for him there too.
Yeah, that's also not 100% where we belong either. I'm not saying it's not a step up, but that's what we said in the beginning of the Haggada, right? This year we're here, next year we're in Eretz Yisrael. This year until Eretz Yisrael's Tachas Mamshalas Hashem, until there's a Beis Hamikdash, until we don't have Arabs all around us wanting to kill us and destroy us and who knows what, bombs, it's still not, it's not called the true where we really belong, but it's definitely, anyways, okay, with a few amount, see, each time we say a couple words and then we bring the pasuk where it was, which elaborates on it. So they went down with 70 souls, and now Hashem made you like a great nation. So we see that we went down with a small amount. Okay, now Vayisham l'goy, and then over there you were a goy. They were distinctive there. What does that mean? What does the word mitzuyanim mean? What does the word distinctive mean? So there's different shatim, but one of the
they're a visible minority.
Right. Oh, very good. Excellent. What? He said they were a visible minority. In other words, they didn't blend in.
They didn't change their name.
It's one of the
change their clothing.
Yeah, there's other shatim, but that's a very good. That's what I want to say. Tzion. The word tzion, I have written down. I don't know where this comes from, but the word tzion means to be distinct, to stand out. True.
Mm-hmm.
So the word goy, like you're saying, where does it come from? Where do you see it from? They were mitzuyanim sham. Where do you see that they were mitzuyanim sham from the word? We brought down three words. Vayisham l'goy. Now we said they were mitzuyanim sham. So the answer is that what it means is they remained their own nation. They were a goy. They were a nation within a nation. They didn't blend in. Mitzrayim was similar to America 100 years ago, whatever. It was like a melting pot. Everyone sort of just becomes Americans. And what they did was, they didn't melt in. They remained distinctive. They remained separate. And how did they do that? So there was a few things. They didn't change their clothing. They didn't change their names. They didn't change their language. And again, the Medrash says, but with these things, they were also nigal. So, in other words, how they went down to Mitzrayim was a fundamental point in how they were able to come out. Because when they went down to Mitzrayim, the entire time they stayed in Mitzrayim, they stayed without changing their names, without changing their language, without changing their clothing, so they remained distinct and they remained separate, and that was part of the way that they were zoicha to the Gula also. It's interesting, just because I heard it a couple of years ago, I wrote it down, that we don't do this. Many of us have English names. Most of us dress, we dress the same as Goyim. What does a guy wear? Wears a suit, a tie, right? We dress the same. Maybe some people wear hats, but 50 years ago they also wore hats.
Where's the shtreimel come from?
Oh,
Polish gentry.
One second. The Hasidim.
Yeah, Polish gentry.
Right, but
They
think.
wore shtreimel.
No, but the Hasidim now dress different than the Goyim.
Yes.
The Hasidim talk different than the Goyim. They try to talk Yiddish. They don't call English names. We talk English. We dress the same as the Goyim, and many of us have similar names. There's a Shaila. So a Shaila was brought to Moshe. If you're allowed to call someone by his bris, Goyish name. Right? So Moshe said yes. And he said, look in the Gemara, look at all the Aramaic names. Papa and all the different names, they're Aramaic names. That was their name. They had Aramaic names. And many people have English names now. Many of the names that are even Jewish names, I don't know which ones, but have sources in, what's Mordechai? That's where it comes from. It's a drasha. What is it? Alexander is a famous, right? So Moshe said, what's the pshat? He said like this, because before Matan Torah, it's very interesting, but I can show it to you. I can try to find it. I forgot what it is, but I can try to find it if anyone wants to see it inside. Before Matan Torah, what separated us from the Goyim? Nothing. What made us separate from the Goyim? Nothing. So therefore, we had to make separations. We had to have different names, different clothing. But once we got the Torah, we became totally different. We became ba'etzim different. We have the Torah. It's a whole. We didn't need those external things as much to separate us, because we have the Torah, and the Torah is what separates us. And therefore, after Matan Torah, this was before Matan Torah. After Matan Torah, we didn't need to do this. The Hasidim, supposedly it was a big thing, and the Hasidim argued with Rav Moshe on this point, and that's why the Hasidim are much more. They still wear clothing from a long time ago. Like, they look different. They look much more different than we do. The only thing we really look different is the Amukah and the Peyas. Little minor differences, but they look much more different. They talk different and they speak different. Just an interesting sock. Okay. So that's what it means. V'hisham l'goyim. I never knew what this meant. I'm happy to hear someone got it right, because I never knew what this meant before I really looked into it. I didn't know what those words meant. So Pashut Pshat, what it means is that they were distinct, that they were their own nation over there. They stayed separate. Gadol Atzum, they were great and mighty. Like it says over there, B'nai Yisrael paru v'yishrutzu v'yirbu v'yatzam moy. They were paru, they were fruitful. Yishrutzu, they were like bugs. They multiplied. V'yirbu v'yatzam, they were very strong. Tamali hearts, oisam, the land was full of them. V'rav, and they were numerous. K'mashanema revava k'tzamach asara nesatich. I made you as numerous like the grass on the field. V'tirbi v'tigli, you grew over tavim b'adi adoyim. Came full, Shadayim Nachanu, you had a breast, full figure, and your hair grew long, and you were naked. Now, the next pasuk over here, we'll see what this means in a minute, but the next pasuk over here is out of order. And it's really the pasuk before, and it says like this, Ever alive, and I passed over you, Erech Mishbaisesis b'damayach, and I saw you wallowing in your blood, and I said to you, through your blood you shall live, through your blood you shall live. So, what's going on over here? We have a few different languages of strength. Gadol, Atzum, V'rav. Our pasuk that we're up to says Gadol, Atzum, V'rav. So our Torah translates as great, mighty, and numerous. Right? What are the differences between these? So, Gadol means like great, means like big in numbers. Atzum is like strong. And that's the first pasuk tells us that there was many, and V'yatzum, they were very strong. And this is also a very important point, that even though we started off as a a very small nation, and then we multiplied at a very quick pace, but, right, 6 at a time, but we were still strong and healthy. So even though we had so many, we still grew up strong and healthy. They were very strong. Merav, and they were numerous. I mean, what's this? We just said that there was many, right? So, and also what's the pasuk showing us? So one shot is that Verav doesn't mean that they were numerous, and Revav doesn't mean that they were numerous either. It means that they grew like plants. Verav means that their growth was like supernatural. And I'll read you a very interesting Gemara. The Gemara says like this. It's a Gemara, it's also a Medrash. The Gemara says like this. Darsha Bekiva. Bekiva said a Joshua. Wow. Schar Nashim Tzidkaniyos. It's important to know a few interesting things. A few halachas come out of this Medrash also from this Gemara. So like this. Schar Nashim Tzidkaniyos. These women of valor, tzedekis, that were in that generation. Nigalu Yisrael Mitzrayim. Klal Yisrael was Zoichet to the Gula. Ma'as, so what do these ladies do? When they would go get water, they would draw water, Hashem would put little fish in their water, and they would draw the water, they'd end up with half fish and half water. By the way, if we're going to get up to it, we just had it, or we're going to get up to in the parsha. It says, remember the fish that we ate in Mitzrayim, and they're complaining about the man, right? Which fish? More says this fish, this free fish that Hashem gave, which is interesting because it's not like they had fish. Hashem gave them fish. And they bring them to their husbands. They would get 2 pots, one of fish and one of water. They would give them food, and they would drink them, then they would live with them. So they would come and they would revive their husbands with food and water, and then they would live with them in order to have children. What does that mean? If you sleep and lie down, and the schar that they lived with their husbands over there, so they were zeicha to zevach b'mitzrayim. Okay, now that's how they were able to get their husbands to live with them. They revived them. Hashem put fish in the water and they boiled it up and they went to their husbands, and that's how they were able to get their husbands to live with them. What did they do when they had kids? When it came time for them to give birth, they would go and they would give birth in the field underneath the apple tree. That's one of the reasons why we eat charesis. That's why charesis is made from apples. Because you eat it underneath the apple tree. They would go in the apple orchards. And Hashem would send a malach, and clean the babies, and they used to do something to the limbs. So they do this thing to the limbs, shifra, right? And the word shifra, mishafar some. Kechaya who's mishafar the vlad, like kechaya who's mishafar the vlad, shenem vlaticha b'yam alad to. Now, umelakalam shnei gulam, and then they would leave them in the field. They would just leave them in the field, and Hashem would bring these 2 balls. Achas shel shemen, one was oil, achas shel dvash, one was honey. Shenemar v'yaniku dvash misela, that they had honey from a rock. The Kirush came out of Mitzrayim, when the Mitzrayim started to realize, hey, all these kids are, right, sitting in the apple, right, it's like the Cabbage Patch Kids, right? I don't know who's the right age for that or not, but when I was a kid. The Kirush HaMitzrayim, when the Mitzrayim saw them, Ratu L'Hargam, they wanted to kill them. When they made a nace, when they learned the karka, they got swallowed up into the ground. They brought cattle, and they plowed on them. Shenemar, they grew like the plants in the field. What does it mean they grew like the plants in the field? They were underground. When they got older, they would come out of the ground. They had a supernatural growth, like the tzemach hasada. They would come like these groups to their houses. They'd show up at home like these, these groups of older children. They'd show up at their house. Shenemar v'tava ba'adi adoyim. Al tikri adi adoyim, el adorim, flocks, like groups. They showed up at their house, full. And that's what it means. Shadayim nachoinu, they were fully matured. When their hair grew, they showed up fully matured. That's what they say the pasuk means.
Where's the Gemara?
Gemara is in Saita, Daf Yud Aleph Amid Aleph. Yud Aleph. Also Medrash Rabbah, Shmais Aleph Tazayin. I think there's a couple more details in one place and the other place. Which one is mentioned? If it is, Rashi brings it. I think Rashi brings it down maybe in the Gemara. So that's one pshat. Harav means that, it's an interesting pshat, but what it means is that they grew numerous. It means that they grew in a way, like a supernatural way. Harav, the way they grew was supernatural, like the grass. Another pshat in this, that they say, also very interesting pshat, is that just like grass, right, grows better when it's cut, grows neater, so too Klal Yisrael, kasher yano isam, the more they afflicted them, kain yarva v'chein yifrit, so they grew, they multiplied even more. And the Mitzrayim, what they did was they kept making xeris, and the xeris were in order to stop them from growing. And what happened? Those things caused them to grow even more. The Gemara says, I think, or Rashi says, they said 10 yirba, and Hashem said kain yirba, right? Kain yirba v'chein yifrit. They said havan ischakmoi 10 yirba, and Hashem said kain yirba. Even more. The more you afflict them, the more they're going to grow. Very interesting Ramban. Ramban says that B'nai Levi, if you look at the end of when they count all the Shvatim, B'nai Levi is the smallest Shevet. Why is B'nai Levi the smallest Shevet? Because they didn't have the Shibud Mitzrayim.
They didn't work.
Since they didn't have the Shibud Mitzrayim, they didn't have the Kasher Yano, so it came Yerbu V'chein Yifrit. This is what we talked about last week also, that, even though it's a difficult concept to grasp 100%, but this is the nature of the world is. Kasher Yano is it came Yerbu V'chein Yifrit. It's based on suffering, based on affliction, based on hardship. That's how a person grows, and that's how growth comes. And B'nai Levi, they didn't have the Shibud, that's why they were the smallest Shevet. Okay, now why does it say that he's Sham Lagoy? Why Sham? Because that was part of the miracle. That Sham, where did we become Klal Yisrael? We went down to Mitzrayim with 70 people. We left Mitzrayim with millions, whatever the numbers are, 600,000 men between the ages of 20 and 60, whatever that means, 2 million, 3 million. We left with huge numbers. Now he's Sham Lagoy in Mitzrayim. That's also a bit chiddush, because normally when someone's traveling, someone's away, they're not in their homeland. That's not the place where you grow into a nation. We grew in Vahish Sham Lagoy Gadol V'atzum B'Rav. That's where we grew into our nation. Now what does that last pasuk mean? Wherever life is accessible to Mayach, it doesn't seem to have anything to do with anything. So the truth is that the Rishonim say it's not a real part of the Haggadah. And it's actually not a part of the real Haggadah. The reason is because it's not explaining anything. Just once we brought down the pasuk, the second pasuk, so we brought down this one too. And this tells us that Hashem gave us the mitzvah of what is the two dam. 2 times. One is the dam Pesach and one is the dam Milah. Through the mitzvah of Pesach and through the mitzvah of Milah, there was Zeicha to be redeemed. But the truth is not really where it fits. We're talking about on the way down, and we're talking about their growth over here. This is nothing. That was talking about all the way at the end of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Let's see if we can do the next pasuk also. And then next week we'll do the last two. So it says, "V'yireu Yisrael Mitzrayim." The Mitzrayim did evil to us. Let's see if we agree with that. K'moshe Nemar, Hava Nischat Maloi Pen Yirba. Let's go and be smart with them. Pen Yirba, lest they get large. Then a Melchama will happen. And they'll gather onto our enemies. They'll fight against us, and they'll leave the land. So, what they do bad to us? It says they did bad to us, and then they bring a pasuk where Paro was talking to his officers. I thought they didn't do anything bad over there. It doesn't say the word Ra over there. Why that pasuk? What is it bringing from that pasuk? What's the bad that they did to us in that pasuk? Also the lashon of Yereu Shanu, they did bad to us. It should be Yereu Lanu. They did bad. That's how they were evil to us. Yereu Shanu means, we'll see what it means a little differently. So the Rishonim explain. Some Rishonim explain like this. V'yarei Olanu means they did bad to us. If I hate you, that's called V'yarei Olanu. V'yarei Oisanu means they made us bad. They created propaganda. They made us evil. Right? Unfortunately, we see this happening nowadays, where you could have propaganda where you could make people evil. They made us evil. That was the first step. The Arei Sonu, they made us evil. Not, I'm translating differently than the article. Not the Egyptians did evil to us, but they turned us into evil. That was the first step. And that's what it means. Paro said, Hava nischak malay, let's be smart. Let's deal with the Jewish problem. Right? Hava nischak malay, we have to deal with the Jewish problem. Panirba, they're going to join our enemies. What problem? They're just nice law-abiding citizens. What are they doing wrong? Not citizens, right? What are they doing wrong? They're just nice guys. Right? Oh, let's have an ischak. Let's think smart how to deal with them. That's called the Areu Sonu. Why did they have to do this? Because Paro was a regular king. He wasn't this crazy madman, and he knew that Yosef just saved Mitzrayim, and he had to first make a propaganda campaign. Before he could do anything, there had to be a natural flow to the whole. Couldn't just go and persecute them, so you had to first do propaganda. That's what it means. They made us into bad. They turned us into evil. And that's how in the Chachma. Let's think how to turn them. How do we deal with them? Not how to turn them into evil. How do we deal with this problem? What problem? They're evil. So he made them into the problem. The Beis Halevi says that this is how the Goyim always deal with us. Step number one is they turn us into the root of evil. They do propaganda. They turn us into evil. Then they afflict us. Very interesting medrash. Another interesting medrash. Medrash says like this: let's use our brains. What was the brains that Paro did? Shasham Paro Havan Estakmalay. Kavetz Paro's Kloisot. Paro gathered all of Kloisot. How did he get this whole thing to start? There's a couple different midrashim, but how did he get it all to start? How did he take a lot of normal people and turn them into slaves? What did he do? So he did like this. He gathered all of Klal Yisrael. Some people say he gathered everybody, the whole nation, and he said to them, listen, Public Works Day, Habitats for whatever, Public Works Day, right? There's going to be a new tax. It's normal that the way it used to work is people, a set amount of days would be for the government. So everyone's going to work for the government. Please, work for me for a day. Right? We're going to see the word beforach is beperach with a soft, right? You start off soft and then it turns hard. Beperach. Not al salam agrefa. Paro himself took a pail and a bucket. Some people said he wore around his neck an anvil, like to show. Paro himself is coming to work. Anyone who saw Paro start working on the field, he would also do it. So what did Klal Yisrael do? They were the most, they were idealistic. Oh, the country is making an effort to rebuild. They went bezrizos. They worked hard to show that they were contributing, to show that they're part of it. Except for Bnei Levi. Bnei Levi didn't join. That's why Bnei Levi never had the Shiva, because Bnei Levi said they didn't want to do it. They stayed in the base matter. So they never had the Shiva put on them. If you show Balikol, they're very strong. That night, then they put these officers on them. Now let's count up how much you did, and every day you have to do the same thing. There's other midrashim, a little different versions that then they increased the taxes, and then they increased the taxes to the point where they got them that they were enslaved.
Rabbi, I think that it's in the San Gemara and Sota, but I think what happened was they actually started paying them.
Right, some of them paid them.
Paid them, and then he taxed them.
Yeah.
And then he stopped paying them, but he kept taxing them. Something like that.
Okay, what's Ve'anunu? So the pasuk says Ve'anunu. But anyways, we're saying Ve'arei son of Mitzrayim. What we're saying Pshat in the first pasuk, very geschmack of Pshat over here, is Ve'arei son of Mitzrayim, he turned us into bad. Let's deal with the Jewish problem. What we're saying is there's a problem over here. Let's deal with this Jewish problem. Yanunu, and he afflicted us. They put on taskmasters in order to afflict them with their burdens. Even our mitzvahs of fire, they built these storage houses of fire. So what's Yanunu? They would just different midrashim. They used to put taskmasters on them and torture them, and if they had to work very fast. They were constantly working fast. And if they didn't fulfill their quota, they would whip them. If they didn't have enough bricks, they would go to their house and actually take the children to be in place of the bricks. That's how they used to make them suffer. But an additional part of the Inui was that they made them build Pisam and Ramses. And the Gemara says, Pisam is, also Gemara in Saita, Rishon Pisahan Balu. Pisa means it would be swallowed up. And Ramses is Rishon means Ramses, it would sink. So they made them build things that didn't have a purpose. And that destroys a person's whole, building something that's going to fall down is very destructive for his morale. You're not accomplishing anything. So that's the Anunu, they afflict us. And by the way, this is a part that's very important to focus on, because this is the affliction, this is the suffering that Klal Yisrael went through. You know, Avodah Kasha. So what's the Avodah Kasha? We already said that they made them work. So now what's Avodah Kasha? What's this next thing? And it says, you know, Avodah Kasha, and the pasuk says, "V'yavdim mitzvah neisel b'farach." So what's b'farach? So there's different shadim over here, what the different levels were. But the Ramban says that we're bringing down the pasuk, "V'yavdim mitzvah neisel b'farach." This was the next level. There was a public works, and then they became slaves to personal mitzvahs also. So personal mitzvah wanted something done in his house, say, come over here, come do my, make my barbecue, go clean my house, go sweep the floors. Whatever they wanted them to do, that's what it means, Avidu Mitzrayim. The people in Mitzrayim, they had to serve them also. So that was the next level. Others explain that the Avidu Avodah Kasha was that they made the Avodah even harder. The Gemara says also a little different, that they switched it up. So in other words, anytime they started to get used to something, they made them do something else. And then they made the men do the women's and the women do the men's, because that's even harder avodah, constantly afflicting them, making them suffer even more. What's B'farach? B'farach was hard, destructive labor, because first they gave them the straw, then they took away the straw. But they kept them doing the same quota of bricks. So just to get the flow over here, what are the 3 steps? Because we're saying 3 steps. So mitzvah means what? They turn them into public enemies. They turn them into bad. The Anunu means that they gave them taxes and harsh, pointless labor, that they made them work and afflicted them. The Avodah Kasha was they gave them either slavery to the individual mitzvahs, or they increased their workload and made it even harder. And then we already said over this B'farach that they started off with. B'farach was soft, but then it turned hard. Next week we'll talk about getting out. When they cried out to Hashem, and they got out.